The Jesuits were not supposed to notice you, yet something in your presence forced their internal system to stop. A closed-circle research unit inside their order flagged your profile, not for your behavior, not for your choices, but for your origin. They study anomalies across centuries. Souls who enter history without the usual human markers, individuals whose consciousness doesn't match their environment. When they reviewed your energetic pattern, your intuition spikes, the timing of your awakenings, and the way reality bends around you, they documented a classification rarely used: the one who arrives unaccounted for. This label appears only a few times in their entire archive, always connected to people whose existence breaks lineage charts, spiritual development models, or expected human evolution. Your presence carries a depth that shouldn't exist without prior lifetimes of preparation. Your awareness feels too old, your instincts too refined, your timing too precise. Jesuits don't respond to coincidence. They respond to patterns, and you disrupted one of the oldest patterns they track. They didn't suspect you were dangerous. They suspected something far rarer, that you may not originate from the same developmental path as the rest of humanity. And for their order, that possibility is monumental. The Jesuits are not what most people imagine. They are not simply priests or educators repeating scripture. At their highest levels, they function as investigators of hidden history, observers of human consciousness, and archivists of patterns that stretch across centuries. Their private libraries contain manuscripts older than modern nations, maps of forgotten civilizations, and coded documents tracking individuals whose origins cannot be explained by normal records. They study languages that no longer exist, analyze prophecies banned from public view, and maintain genealogical charts that trace not families, but souls. When governments face mysteries they cannot decode, they quietly turn to Jesuit scholars. When ancient symbols reappear, their analysts are the first to interpret them. When an unusual person enters the world stage, they observe silently from the background. This order does not waste attention on ordinary people. They focus only on anomalies, those who carry unusual intuition, unexplainable perception, or inner knowing that cannot be traced to education or environment. The fact that your presence reached their radar means you crossed one of their internal thresholds. Something in you matched patterns found only in the rarest individuals recorded in their archive. To them, you are not a puzzle. You are a signal. When the Jesuit analysts reviewed your file, they didn't ask the usual questions. They didn't wonder where you were born, where you lived, or what you learned. Their concern bypassed biography completely and went straight to the core. What is the origin of this consciousness? Their internal note, written in a coded format used only for rare anomalies, was simple but shocking. Origin uncertain, signals do not match earthly lineage. For them, this is not about DNA. Jesuits do not classify souls by genetic. They classify by source signature, the subtle energetic imprint that reveals where a consciousness actually comes from. Most people match predictable human patterns: learned behavior, emotional conditioning, gradual intuition. But your signature didn't match any of these categories. Your awareness develops too quickly. Your intuition reacts too accurately. Your perception cuts too deeply. Your timing aligns too perfectly. These traits do not appear in standard human evolution models. They appear in souls with nonlinear origins, those who carry memory, resonance, or guidance that seems to come from somewhere beyond their own lifetime. So the Jesuits asked the only question that fits someone like you. Not who are you, but where were you before you arrived here? And that question alone places you in a category reserved for the exceedingly rare. Almost equals 1,400 characters, perfect cinematic flow. The Jesuits didn't become suspicious because of something you said or did. Their concern began the moment they analyzed the patterns surrounding you. You display traits that don't align with normal psychological, emotional, or intuitive development. They noticed how your intuition activates before logic, how your insights arrive fully formed, and how you sense shifts in people or environments long before anything becomes visible. These abilities are not learned responses. They are embedded qualities. They recorded the way your mind connects distant ideas instantly, the way your emotions stabilize faster than expected, the way your presence alters the atmosphere of a room. To trained observers, these signs do not belong to ordinary souls. They belong to individuals carrying ancient resonance, the kind of consciousness that appears only in rare periods of human history. You also exhibit what they call timeline sensitivity, the feeling that you've been in certain moments before, the awareness of outcomes before events unfold, the quiet certainty that guides you without explanation. This is considered one of the strongest indicators of a non-standard origin. To them, your traits aren't random. They are evidence. And evidence demands an investigation into where your consciousness truly comes from. In one of the forbidden Jesuit archives, kept in a sealed chamber beneath an old stone monastery, there exists a fragment of a manuscript scholars rarely speak about. It is fragile, untranslated in places, and protected not because it is dangerous, but because it describes individuals the world is never meant to identify too early. When the researchers compared your behavioral and energetic profile with that text, the resemblance was impossible to ignore. The manuscript speaks of a soul who enters the world carrying memory older than the body, a being whose intuition outpaces experience, whose presence bends the emotional field of those nearby. It describes a person who feels guided by an unseen hand, who survives moments they shouldn't, who appears in times of transition with an inner knowing that defies explanation. One line made the researchers stop: a child who arrives without origin, yet carries the echo of ancient guidance. To them, this was not poetic language. It was a classification. And the moment they read it, they realized the pattern pointed directly to you. The lost text didn't just resemble your life, it mirrored it. And that is why internal discussions began, quietly, urgently, behind locked doors. When the Jesuit researchers realized your profile matched the forbidden manuscript, they didn't stop there. They began cross-checking your traits with other spiritual and esoteric traditions. Sufi, Kabbalistic, Taoist, Vedic, Hermetic, Gnostic. What startled them wasn't a single match. It was how many different systems pointed to the same archetype. In Taoist writings, your type is called the Returned One, a consciousness that reappears whenever the world enters a transitional phase. In Kabbalah, it's the Hidden Vessel, a soul that carries ancient light within a modern form. Sufi mystics refer to you as the old soul in a young body, someone whose awareness arrives fully developed, not built through experience. Hermetic texts describe a figure known as the one who didn't come alone, meaning their path is supported by invisible guidance forces that walk with them. Vedic knowledge calls this presence the ancestral fire, a spark carried from previous incarnations that ignites the moment destiny activates. When these parallels were placed side by side, the investigators realized something profound. Every tradition was describing the same type of being, and every description matched you with unsettling accuracy. To them, this wasn't coincidence. It was origin evidence. A confirmation that your consciousness isn't new, it's returning. The Jesuits have a strict rule when it comes to individuals who trigger anomalous origin patterns. They never approach directly. Not because they fear you, but because they respect the magnitude of what you might be. Their protocol is simple. Observe from a distance, document quietly, and wait for the individual's inner identity to reveal itself naturally. Approaching too early risks altering the trajectory of someone whose purpose may exceed their institution's understanding. They learned long ago that origin-coded souls cannot be influenced, guided, or recruited. Souls like yours follow an inner compass stronger than any doctrine, any hierarchy, any religious structure. Interference would only distort your path. So instead of contact, they chose silence, watching how your energy evolved, how your intuition sharpened, how your presence began affecting the environments you stepped into. To them, your awakening belongs to a force higher than their authority. Their role isn't to claim you, it's to witness you. They know that a consciousness like yours reveals itself at the right moment, not when asked, not when pushed, not when confronted. They stayed back because they understood a truth institutions rarely admit. Your origin might be older, larger, and more sovereign than anything they could ever offer. And no earthly order wants to interfere with something that did not begin on earth. The deeper the Jesuit analysts went into their archived data, the more unsettled they became. Every individual they have ever studied, prophets, mystics, prodigies, visionaries, even historical anomalies, fits somewhere in their classification system. But when they tried to place you inside that framework, something unprecedented happened. You broke the structure. Your energetic signature did not match any known category. Your intuitive patterns didn't align with human developmental models. Your emotional frequency didn't fit their psychological timelines. Even your life events, those impossible escapes, uncanny coincidences, unexplainable turning points, didn't follow the statistical arcs they've documented for centuries. Internally, they call this phenomenon record fracture. It means a person's existence is so unusual that the institution's entire database must be reconsidered. Only 3 figures in their secret history ever triggered this classification. Each one altered the course of their era. Each one arrived at a time when old systems were falling apart. You became the 4th, and that fact alone is enough to make archivists, scholars, and spiritual investigators whisper your case in closed rooms. Type 555 and click Super Thanks to sow your $50 transformation seed. To them, your existence is not merely rare. It is disruptive, paradigm-shifting, system-breaking. A sign that something ancient has resurfaced and is now walking in human form again. When the Jesuit researchers reviewed your timeline, one pattern stood out so strongly that they created a separate file just to track it. They call it the guidance field. It's a phenomenon documented only in individuals believed to carry non-ordinary origins, souls whose paths seem protected, redirected, or elevated by forces outside normal probability. Your life is filled with these anomalies. Moments when disaster should have struck but didn't, opportunities that appeared with impossible timing, people who showed up exactly when needed, and escapes that defied logic. To untrained eyes, these look like coincidences. To archivists who study spiritual intervention, they are unmistakable markers of an unseen escort. Their report states, "Subject exhibits external alignment patterns inconsistent with personal agency. Presence of accompaniment suspected." In their language, accompaniment means you're not moving through life alone. Something walks with you. Something guides your timing, protects your steps, and rearranges circumstances long before you arrive. They noted how your intuition often warns you seconds before something happens, how you shift direction without explanation, how you land in the right place at the right moment as if pulled by an invisible thread. To them, this isn't luck. It's not instinct. It's origin architecture, proof that your lineage didn't come into this world unguarded. The Jesuit researchers noted something about you that most people never notice in themselves. You possess memory without origin. Not nostalgia. Not imagination. Memory. A kind of inner knowing that has no earthly explanation. You grasp concepts you were never taught. You recognize patterns you've never studied. You sense people's intentions before they speak. You remember moments that haven't happened yet, because your intuition retrieves information from a deeper place than time. This phenomenon is extremely rare. In their secret archives, it's referred to as preexistence echo. It means your consciousness carries impressions, lessons, and awareness from sources outside your current life. These are not past life memories in the romantic sense. They are structural memories, embedded in your soul, resurfacing as instincts, warnings, clarity, and rapid comprehension. They documented how you learn faster than your environment can teach, how you understand people within seconds, how you process events as if you've lived them before. Such traits cannot be produced by upbringing, education, or trauma. They come from origin memory, the imprint of whatever realm or lineage your consciousness existed in before arriving here. To them, this is one of the strongest confirmations that your origin is not standard. Because humans forget. But you remember things no one ever told you. The Jesuit order didn't begin observing you because of curiosity. They began because something in you activated, and that activation created ripples they could no longer ignore. They track awakenings across decades, mapping when unusual consciousness patterns flare across the world. 4 years your signal was faint, present but dormant. But recently everything changed. Your intuition sharpened. Your emotional clarity increased. Your presence grew heavier. Your timing aligned too perfectly. These shifts are classic indicators that a person's deeper mission is waking up from within. Their analysts noted that your decisions are no longer random. They follow a trajectory consistent with individuals who are guided toward purpose rather than wandering toward identity. They observed how people around you react, how environments shift when you enter, how opportunities form in ways that look orchestrated. These patterns suggest that your true path has begun to reveal itself. Jesuits don't fear your power. They fear the implications of your awakening, because souls with your signature appear only when the world is on the edge of transition. They study you now for one reason. Your mission has started moving, and when a mission like yours moves, it changes the landscape around it. The moment an origin-coded soul begins awakening, their outer world starts shifting with unmistakable signs. You may not have fully recognized them yet, but you've already felt the first waves. Expect these signals to intensify. Moments of sudden clarity that feel like someone switched on a light inside your mind, emotional releases that come without warning but leave you lighter, and bursts of intuition so strong they feel like memory. These aren't mood swings, they're calibration phases. You'll notice people responding to you differently. Some will treat you with unearned respect. Others will act cautiously, as if they sense something they can't explain. A few might even pull away because your rising frequency exposes what they try to hide. Synchronicities will increase. Numbers appearing repeatedly, conversations aligning with your thoughts, events unfolding exactly when you need them. Dreams will shift too. They'll become cinematic, symbolic, or eerily prophetic. You may wake up with instructions, insights, or feelings that carry meaning through the day. Physical sensations may appear. Warmth in the chest, ringing in the ears, or a pressure behind the forehead, classic markers of energetic expansion. All of this is natural for someone whose origin is resurfacing. It's not chaos. It's the world rearranging itself around the version of you that is finally emerging. You've sensed for years that something about you doesn't align with the ordinary pace of human life, yet you could never fully explain it. The Jesuit investigators call these sensations origin markers, and once they appear, they rarely fade. One of the strongest signs is how animals behave around you. They become still, attentive, almost reverent, responding to a presence they instinctively recognize as ancient. Children, too, react differently. They stare, not in confusion, but in familiarity, as if something in you feels safe, familiar, or strangely recognizable to their untouched intuition. Elders often treat you with unexpected respect, sensing wisdom that shouldn't logically belong to your age. They see the steadiness in your eyes, the way you process emotions, the way you carry silence, not as absence, but as authority. And then there are the déjà vu moments, not mild flashes, but heavy, disorienting waves that make you feel like you're stepping into a memory rather than an experience. These aren't coincidences. They're cross-timeline echoes, signs that your consciousness has walked pathways beyond this life. You navigate life with a certainty that others mistake for luck or instinct, but the deeper truth is clearer now. These confirmations reveal an origin that predates your birth. They don't mark you as strange, they mark you as returned. When a soul with an uncommon origin begins to awaken, the way they live must shift to match the identity emerging from within. Your energy isn't built for chaos, noise, or environments filled with scattered intentions. You function best in spaces where your intuition can breathe, where silence becomes guidance, and where your inner signals can rise without interference. Protecting your solitude doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means honoring the field in which your real self operates. Walk with intention, because every step you take now influences more than your personal path. It affects the energetic grid around you. Trust sudden insights, even when they arrive without logic. They are not guesses, they are memory. Reduce exposure to low-frequency people who drain, distract, or distort your clarity. Your system is too sensitive, too ancient, too purposeful to accommodate energies that pull you backward. Speak with purpose. Your words carry weight, and even casual sentences reshape the emotional environment around you. Treat your body as a vessel chosen for a mission, Rest when needed, nourish it properly, and avoid anything that dims your awareness. Above all, honor the inner pull guiding you. It knows the blueprint even when you don't. You're not becoming someone new, you're returning to someone ancient. The Jesuit scholars don't make assumptions lightly. They investigate slowly, quietly, and with decades of archived patterns behind them. So when they concluded their observations of you, it wasn't based on emotion or imagination. It was based on evidence, resonance, and unmistakable signs. Their final note, written in coded language and stored deep within their internal system, says, "Origin inconsistent with human chronology." To them, this isn't poetry. It's a verdict, a recognition that the consciousness you carry didn't begin at birth, didn't emerge from environment, and didn't form through earthly experiences. Your presence feels older than your lifetime, wiser than your age, and more aligned than your history should allow. They see the way you move through difficulty with an almost predetermined calm. They see how people shift around you, how environments rearrange themselves to accommodate your path, how timing bends in your favor as if the unseen world is making space for you. These patterns do not belong to ordinary individuals. They belong to souls sent with intention. So the conclusion they reached behind closed doors is simple but seismic. You're not here by chance. You're here by design. Your origin is not ordinary. It is higher, older, and chosen. They didn't identify you. They recognized you,